Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all enjoying the weekend. First off, I'll do the usual shout outs. I've got a new subscriber. I don't get many new subscribers, so I like to make a point of sort of welcoming them to the channel personally. Calico Productions. It's a YouTube channel run by a lady called Callista Valentine. That's a movie star name if ever I heard one. Welcome to the channel, Callie. Callie does podcasts to do with, let's see, comic books, action figures, movies, fantasy TV, that kind of thing. Some nice ones as well. She did one this week on Star Wars to celebrate, obviously, Star Wars Day, May the 4th. And she did it with Guy. You need to sort this Guy character out. Guy Breatham Jaithwaite. It must be like doing a podcast with Dean Martin or Keith Floyd, just sitting there with a wine glass in his hand. He's done a few videos for this channel and they're absolutely brilliant. He's always half cut when he comes on. I always enjoy him. So yeah, I enjoyed that podcast, Callie. It was really, really good. Really enjoyed that one. Looking forward to the next one, without a doubt. So as I say, welcome to the channel. Feel free to post anything you want, movie or TV related, on the pages. We're always grateful for posts, and it gives me stuff to talk about. As I was saying last week, I need the guys to, all of you lot, to keep putting on posts that'll sort of give me things to talk about at the weekend. Otherwise I'm going to be sitting here for like 10 minutes and that'll be it. So as I say, welcome to the channel, Callie, and hope you like the content. And as I say, just feel free to post anything you want on here. So that's that one. Let's see, Jason's video this week. Wow, Jason, you star, 12 minutes. I was amazed when that came through. I thought, wow, and I watched it and it's absolutely brilliant, mate. You've got to do more, without a doubt. Let me just run through a few points. I've got me notes here. There's no point in hiding the fact that I'm reading from notes, because I am. Just to go over a few of the ones that you mentioned. Life on Mars. Oh, totally ashamed to say I've never seen it. I think I watched probably the first episode and didn't sort of carry on with it. And it's unusual for me because it's set in the 70s. The soundtrack is supposed to be amazing, and I did really enjoy that first episode. So I've actually bought the pair of them, the two series on Blu-ray, so I'm going to be working my way through those before Lazarus begins or gets made, which is the kind of a sequel which I think everybody's getting quite excited about. But I will let you know what I think of Life on Mars, but I'm fairly sure that I'm going to enjoy it. But yeah, I will let you know on that one. What else have we got here? Boys from the Black Stuff and Our Friends from the North. Never seen either of those, but I'm definitely going to be watching them on BBC 4 when they're put on. If they're doing a whole season of classic dramas, there's quite a few that I've not seen, so I'm going to be watching that with great interest. Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Fond memories of that one. I was working on a power station, which is a similar sort of thing to a building site. It's a similar atmosphere, and the lads who worked there told me to get watching this series because it was very true to life to what they'd experienced working abroad in Europe. So I did, loved it. I think I've only seen the first series. I do need to catch up with the other ones, but the first series is just brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Love Thy Neighbour. Well done for mentioning that one, mate. Yes, it does annoy the snowflakes. I know it does, but we love that because we don't care about them. But yes, love Thy Neighbour. And On the Buses, completely timeless comedy. The A-Team has just landed on IMDb TV. Only noticed it last week, so I'm going to be taking a look at that. Love the mug, by the way. That's the A-Team mug. Crack. It's not as nice as mine, obviously, because mine is obviously personalised. Show that off at every opportunity, don't I? Steptoe, again, timeless. Love the idea of, let me get this right, to keep or not to keep, that is the question. Well done, mate. I wish I'd have thought of that one. And the Confessions box set. I went on Amazon last night and there's actually one of them on there for £40, which I think is the cheapest I've seen it. The last time I looked, I think there was something like 90 or 100 and something, and I thought, no way. But I'm seriously thinking of investing in that one. You watch, I'll go on there later to buy, and it will have been bloody sold. And I think the next one up it was about 80 quid. But I do remember the Confessions films very, very well. Funny comedies. They were just like the carry-ons for anybody that doesn't remember them. They were mostly the 70s, sort of 74, 75. There were just a lot more. There was a lot more nudity and a lot more sort of risque jokes in there that they couldn't get away with on the carry-on films, but they were absolutely brilliant. And Robin Asquith was an absolute star as Timmy Lee. They were based on books, I think. So yeah, if I do get that, I'll show that off next week. But you've already done it, so yeah, I do like that Confessions box set. And I'm really looking forward to Music That Matters. If you decide to do that one, that'll be an interesting one, because I think we've got similar tastes in music, especially as far as sort of the 70s and 80s go. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So cracking vid, Jason. I'm really looking forward to you doing more. I knew you could do longer ones. I knew you could. Stretch it out to half an hour, mate. You can do it. I know you can. I mean, that collection of DVDs you've got, bloody hell. If you were showing that lot off, you can do it. I know you can. Where are we now? Jason's done that one to the new subscribers. I've been noticed a post on one of the pages this week to do with board games. And there was one on there, a Warriors board game called Warriors Come Out to Play. Obviously based on a classic line. And I'm sort of erring on the side of getting this thing, but I've got the same problem as you've got, Chris. I've actually got nobody to play them with, as sad as that sounds. But I do like the look of some of these board games. I do remember a few years ago, and they were bringing out versions of Monopoly, and they were doing sort of Star Wars Monopoly, James Bond Monopoly. And I'd have loved to have bought quite a few of those, but how many games of Monopoly can you actually buy? They'd have ended up being sort of collector's items and stuff like that, rather than stuff that you would actually play. But yeah, it looks intriguing. I'm sort of hovering over the buy it now button on that. I can't remember where I saw it. It is a website. It's not eBay or anything like that. But on Amazon, I've noticed a Jaws game, which I think is mostly cards. But I'm just intrigued by these things to see what they're actually like and what the actual rules are of these games. So I'll let you know if I do end up going down on that route. I've been caught up. Well, I've caught up on some letterbox reviews, which I've posted on there. If you want to have a quick look, I reviewed a Queen the Lost movie, which I'll be talking about very shortly. Also, a movie called Under the Skin, deeply disturbing sci-fi film, and also Weekend, which is a Jean-Luc Godard French New Wave type thing. Which, to be honest, I was not impressed with. So they're all on Letterboxd if you care to have a look at those. I've not done any on the website just recently, but I do intend on picking that up. I still want to take it in a slightly different direction, but I'm still working on that one. So we'll come back to that. Let's see. Chris, your post last week on Movies That Matter, When a Stranger Calls. My God. I remember seeing that at the Burton Odeon. It would have been 1979-ish, maybe 1980. Wow, you never forget the first time you ever hear, let me get this right now, it's have you checked the children? That's what is constantly said, and it's a classic line, but the bit that you never forget is finding out that the calls are coming from inside the house. And I'm sorry if I've spoilt it, but if you've not seen it now after nearly 50 years, then it's your own fault. But that is just one of the classic moments of terror. I remember my heart sank when I first heard that. But it's a cracking film, and I bet it still stands up now. I haven't seen it for quite a few years, so that's one I need to check out again. The other one was Poltergeist, total classic. And then a surprising one, Hills Have Eyes Part 2. I love The Hills Have Eyes. And I enjoyed The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. I just didn't expect to see it on that list. I thought you would have put the first one down. So you've obviously got fond memories of that one. I do remember it having the most amazing soundtrack. It sounded a little bit like Friday the 13th. And I remember checking it out and finding out that it was Harry Manfredini who did the soundtrack for Friday the 13th, that did the soundtrack for Hills Have Eyes Part 2. So it worked really well. For me on that level. I thought it was great. It was just a surprise to see that one on there, so nice one for surprising me with that one. What else have I got on here? Let's see. Oh yeah, I've done check. Right, let's do some reviews. First one, McQueen, The Lost Movie. It's a documentary. You'll find it on, I believe, Sky Arts, and it's to do with obviously the movie that Steve McQueen never got to make. Now everybody knows pretty much that he was a hell of a car driver. He loved motor racing, riding bikes, that kind of thing. He pretty much insisted on doing most of his own stunts on movies like The Great Escape. And The Lost Movie is concerning a movie that he never actually got made, but that he wanted to make. In the 60s, a book was published called The Cruel Sport, to do with motor racing, and it basically exposed the danger in motor racing, which I think pretty much everybody knew, but this really brought it into stark reality. And John Sturgis, who directed McQueen in The Great Escape, made a deal with the book's author, his agent, to secure the film rights to this Cruel Sport, and intended to make a movie called Day of the Champion. What he didn't know was that another director, John Frankenheimer, who directed a movie called, let me get this right, The Manchurian Candidate, which was absolutely brilliant, Frank Sinatra movie, all to do with mind control and stuff like that, superb film. And Frankenheimer had made his own private deal with the author to also secure the film rights. They both announced on the same day, near enough, that they were going to make motor racing movies. Frankenheimer's was going to be called Grand Prix. He wanted Steve McQueen to play the lead in that movie, but apparently McQueen had one hell of an argument with one of the producers and walked out, and that's why they ended up with James Garner in the lead. And then John Sturgis approached McQueen and said, tell you what, we'll do our own one, we'll call it Day of the Champion. And with you being a sort of an accomplished car driver and well in with pretty much all of the Grand Prix fraternity, you will play this just as it should be. I mean, watch the documentary and you'll find out how it pans out. It didn't actually happen, but it is a fascinating, absorbing documentary. It really is. There's some vintage interviews with McQueen. A lot of the sort of the producers and the directors of both movies. It's a cracking story. It really is. About 90 minutes, but it is well worth your time. As I say, that's called McQueen the Lost Movie, and that's on Sky Arts, I believe. The next one was, oh my God, a movie called Weekend. It was directed by Jean-Luc Godard, who also directed Breathless, or I believe it's called À bout de souffle, which is the French title. One of the French New Wave movies from 1959 or 60, which was absolutely brilliant. I love Breathless. So I thought, what it was, a guy at work recommended it to me and said, you've seen Breathless, haven't you? I said, yeah. He says, you've got to watch Weekend, it's absolutely amazing. Okay, so I bought the Blu-ray, which I'll be, where is it? There we go. That's the Blu-ray that I bought on the basis of this recommendation, and I put it on one day last week. The story, such as it is a couple, a middle-aged couple, decide to go on a road trip to visit the wife's mother and father, the parents, with the intention of murdering them for their money. Yeah, okay, so it sounds pretty straightforward so far, but this road trip is just... They get involved in a traffic jam that has to be seen to be believed. They also meet. I'll read this from the back because it's a journey fraught with violence and dangerous encounters, rape, murder, pillage, and even cannibalism. Yes, they are all there. I have to say, this movie made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I'm all for a bit of sort of foreign movies, French movies, that kind of thing. You know, some of them are a little bit out there, but this was just something else. I'd never seen anything quite like this. I stuck with it. I stuck through the whole of it. God knows how, but I did. I didn't even think it was that well made. It's regarded as some kind of a masterpiece. It completely escaped me, and it's supposed to be a brilliant comedy. The comedy element went straight over my head. Absolutely no clue what was supposed to be funny about it. But what literally killed it for me was the scenes of animals being killed near the end, and I thought, never again. I won't be watching this again. That pretty much killed it totally for me. I couldn't tell you who was in it. All I know is it was directed by the Jean-Luc Godard, and if you'd told me that before, I'd have thought, oh, it's got to be worth watching. Now this has got to be one of the worst ones I've ever seen. If this was a bin it or keep it, this would definitely be going to the charity shop. But it actually cost about, I think it's about £12. So I'm sort of half tempted to do what you do, Jason, and probably stick that on Amazon and try and sell it or something. But if I can't, I'll be quite happy to part with that and send it to the charity shop for some other poor sap to try and make sense out of. But no, I absolutely loathed it. I really did. I'm not looking forward to telling him that when I see him at work, because he raves about it. He thinks it's brilliant, and I need to ask him what it is he thinks is brilliant about it. But to me, it was a load of pretentious art house nonsense, which absolutely didn't make sense. So no, I won't be watching Weekend again. The other one I watched this week is a movie called Under the Skin. Stars Scarlett Johansson. It's a kind of a cross, I thought, between sort of The Man Who Fell to Earth and maybe Species. An alien lands on Earth and takes the form of an attractive woman who basically drives around in a white transit van, ensnaring men, taking them back to a derelict house, well, presumably for the intentions of sex, but it doesn't actually happen. They're actually there to be turned into food. It's a difficult movie to explain. I really, really enjoyed it, but there was something about it I found deeply, deeply disturbing. When they're led into the house, they are led into this. It's total blackness, and they slowly begin to sink into the ground, and then you realise that they're being swallowed up by this sort of sticky, oily gunk. It sounds ridiculous, it really does, but when you watch it, I thought it was really disturbing. It's not one I think I'll be watching again. But the soundtrack to it is amazing. I've never heard anything like it. It's like one of these experimental things. But if you get the chance to watch it, it's worth a look, but be prepared. It is very, very adult entertainment. You've never seen a sci-fi film like this before, because I haven't. It's really, really well made. Scarlett Johansson is totally mesmerising in this. You can't take your eyes off her. And I've read a couple of behind the scenes things, and most of the people in it, apart from her, are actual genuine Scottish people just going about their business. Yeah, I would definitely say it's worth watching, but I'm not sure it's one that I'll be watching again. But the visuals are amazing as well. So I mean, it's got a lot going for it. It's just one of those things that I don't particularly want to put myself through again. But I could be wrong. I did sit and think about it about half an hour later and thought, does it warrant a second viewing? Not sure it does. Not sure it does. Very entertaining, but not very nice, I have to say. That's pretty much all I've watched this week. What else have I got on here? Let's see if I missed anything. No, I don't think so. Let's go. What I bought this week. Let's see. Now then, Caroline, you put, let's see, that movie on, but a different version. Now this is really my bin it or keep it for this week, and the reason it's a bin it is because I've upgraded to a Blu-ray. Reason being that Caroline put a post on basically saying that the Blu-ray was being deleted, and it's got some cracking extras on it. So that is bin it or keep it for this week, and the only reason I'm binning it is because I've upgraded it to this one, which is a BFI Blu-ray, and this has got an absolute wealth of extras. Now I've actually got quite fond memories of this movie. When I worked at Comet, remember Comet? This would have been sort of 1978. I'd only been 16 at the time, and I think I told you the other week that it was sort of the debut of VHS, and they used to record movies off the TV to display in the shop. I think one was Live and Let Die, and the other one was The Day the Earth Caught Fire. And I watched this so many times. I absolutely loved it. I'd never heard of it before, but absolutely loved it, and I've loved it ever since. So that was a very easy purchase. I think it only cost about £9. I was quite impressed with that. So that's the bin it or keep it, but the only reason I'm binning it is because I bought that. The other one, and this is you again, Caroline. Oh, sorry, I couldn't resist it. Barry Norman's 100 Best Films of the Century. I can't wait to get into this one. I've had a quick flip through it, and I have to say that most of the movies in here, like you, I think are total classics, and I can definitely see why you picked them. But that would be a task in itself to work your way through the 100 Best Films of the Century, if I hadn't got that many other tasks going on at the moment. So that's one. And obviously I couldn't stop there. As I looked down the page, I saw that one, the Film Greats, which is just basically biographies of certain greats. You've got John Wayne, David Niven, Henry Fonda, Steve McQueen, Bing Crosby, and some other geezer that I don't recognise. No clue. That's another Barry Norman book. Obviously I couldn't stop there either, because this was further down. Talking Pictures, which is basically the story of Hollywood. I mean, Barry Norman was the face of movies in the 70s and 80s. So nobody would know the history of Hollywood better than him, I don't think. So this was a very easy purchase. I was well impressed to get this. So I'll be having a flick through that one. And that's pretty much all I bought this week. Very quickly, I'll just do the movie tie-in book for this week. I'm actually running out of these. I scanned the bookshelf last night, and I seem to remember I had loads of these things, but I must have either given them away or thrown them away. I've probably only got about another 4 or 5. I thought I had loads, but I'm tempted to start collecting them again, because I do kind of miss seeing them on the bookshelf. The one for this week is that one. I bought this in the late 70s because I'd heard of the film and wanted to read the book, and it is a cracking book. Prophecy, obviously written by the guy who wrote The Omen. The movie itself you'll pretty much know about, because I talk about it quite a lot. It was made in 1979, stars Talia Shire and Robert Foxworth, I believe, and it's one of the first eco-horror movies, basically showing what can happen if you mess about with the environment. You get that kind of thing. But this is a cracking book. This is another one that I really need to watch, but again, it's an old one. Look, pages are really faded. But yeah, that's the movie time book for this week, and it looks like I'm going to have to invest in 1 or 2 to keep this going. I've probably got about another 4 or 5, but we'll see how we go with that. And the soundtrack for this week, this is one very close to my heart. I'll just go back just a little bit. The James Bond collection. Now, this was bought for me for Christmas by my mum. Would have been about 1971. My dad had took me to see a Bond double bill, which I think was Diamonds Are Forever, and I believe it was on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I was raving about the music in the Bond films, and my mum used to run a catalogue. I believe it was either Grattan's or Littlewoods, and she spotted this and bought this for me, and it was never off the turntable. I loved it, and I still do. It's looking a little bit tattered now because of its age. You're talking, this is 50 years old, but if I just go through very quickly what you've got here, you've got all the artwork in there, and it's like a mini book. If I can just, it's actually coming away. There we go. But all that kind of thing. But it's a lovely little set, and the LPs themselves are looking a little bit tired nowadays, or a little bit scratched. But I would still play this. I would actually love another copy of this that's in better condition. I need to have a look on eBay, but I get the feeling that they are going to be well expensive. But I'm going to have a look and see what I can find, see if I can get a better copy of that. I can even remember where the scratches are, believe it or not. I remember them well. So that's a lovely collection. I'm really pleased with that. And as I say, she bought me that would have been about 1971, 72. So it's nearly 50 years old. In fact, it's 50 years old. So yeah, we'll come back to another soundtrack next week. Now then, quote encounters for this week. It is 3 words. This is a film from the 1960s. This line is spoken by a lady, and it's 3 simple words. Here we go. We rob banks. That's it. We rob banks. I hope somebody gets this. I would have known it straight away because I love this movie. I've seen it many, many times and absolutely adore it. So let me just make sure I've not forgotten anything on it. Just look at this little lot. I've gone over the page as well. So no, I think I've pretty much covered it for this week. So right, I'll leave it at that for this. We've gone for the usual 30 minutes, so that's not too bad. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks ever so much for joining me. And if you've enjoyed the video, just give us a thumbs up and also subscribe. That would be amazing. So I'll be back next week with pretty much more of the same. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your week. And I'll see you in a few days. Take care, folks. Ta-da.